Everybody, I am back. Earlier, I was on ArmTalk, and guess what? Now I got the evening session. So this time, I got the man out of Texas, Mr. Robert Lee Fowler. Robert, how you doing?
Pretty good, man. Pretty good.
Well, reason why I had you on, because you had a big super match coming up. And I know you had mentioned, hey, I've never been on ArmTalk before. So I'm thinking, you know what? We got to get this guy on. But before we get to the super match, let's talk about where are you actually based out of?
I'm in San Angelo, Texas right now, so it's kind of central Texas, in the middle of all your big cities: Dallas, Austin, San Antonio.
Right.
Right. So it's kind of like Las Vegas, where I came from, as far as a hub area.
Gotcha.
Just a lot smaller though. It's like a small town. I got a small club here, and one of my good buddies from back probably when I was about 14. I've known him that long. Got into arm wrestling probably about a little over a year and a half ago.
Right.
And kind of taking it serious in training. So we got about 6-7 members here. My dad moved out here with me too, Robert Fowler Sr., and he's been arm wrestling as long as I have.
Nice.
And so we came out, and I've been helping coach these guys and stuff. And my buddy Johnny, and he's kind of, welcoming me with open arms out here, and kind of let me do my thing and bring the knowledge in that I know, and helping the team grow is our main goal, and trying to find other members and stuff out here, and getting the word out.
Okay, so what is your status like? What class are you in? How tall are you? Things like that, because the guys that don't know you want to know what's Robert all about.
Well, I'm 6'3". Right now, I'm probably about closer to 310 pounds. Super heavy. So I've been doing this, I'd say 06 is when I got into it. Started training with Team Southwest Colorado.
Right.
Had a lot of success through there, being, my first, 2 years in, right, cutting your teeth, getting your wins and stuff. The rule was back then, you get your first 2 pulls in, right or left-handed, doesn't matter, in the novice, and you're out, and then you got to pull the open.
Right.
So every time I went and pulled, I pulled novice and the open class, right and left-handed. My first 2 pulls on my right hand, I won. So I got out of the novice and went to the open, and I usually always place like top 5.
Gotcha.
And then it wasn't until probably my second year, then I started placing like top 3, and was able to start taking some of the guys out in the right-handed division. My left hand, of course, it's always dragging behind. So that one probably took me about a year to place out of on my left. And then after that was kind of similar story. So I've always pulled both arms.
Gotcha.
For as long as I've been doing this. But what this whole thing that's kind of kicked this off, very invigorated. This guy that I'm pulling is kind of ties into my whole story.
Yeah, I like to hear about this.
We started about the same time, and he's a super heavy now. He started as a heavy. I was heavy at one time. I had to drop weight. About killed me, and said never going to do that again. So we've went back and forth over the years, switching spots between number 1 in the area. Me from Southwest Colorado, he's from New Mexico. We would always, if we knew one of us was showing up, they were going to take first place usually.
Gotcha.
Whether it was left-handed, we usually both was probably going to take the spot. So we've had rivalries going back and forth for a long time. And I had a family, stuff settled down. So about 6 years ago, I started kind of, my career started to kind of slow down a lot, right, and kind of fade.
Right.
Everything kind of started hitting. And before that was close to the time I ended up pulling Tony Thomason down in Colorado the first time I met him.
Good old Tony.
Flash pinned him there the first time he met me. He didn't know who I was out of Colorado. He was very interested after that.
So is that the mystery partner that you're pulling?
Do what?
Is that the mystery partner? Who are we talking? We're talking about Tony?
No. The mystery puller we're talking about that I'm going to go up against is Nate McCallan out of New Mexico.
Oh yeah. I know that name. 1. I've been around for a while, so I know exactly who you're talking about. Yes. Kerry, go ahead, sir.
Yes, sir. But no, all that kind of leads up into that because it was towards the end of my my reign there. When I decided to do my last tournament, I went down, pulled him. Fabian Collin showed up right when he first started, and then kind of had my last tournament there because I decided, well, depending on how I feel on this one, I might just hang it up, right?
Yeah.
And so I went down, didn't feel too good, wasn't training, wasn't doing anything. Ended up taking third in the right and then second and left, so I was not very pleased with myself. And after that, I said, you know what? I'm just going to get out of it. So I took a 5-year layoff.
Right.
And ended up moving to Las Vegas, I'd say probably a little over 2 years ago, right?
Okay.
And when I moved out there, I hit Tony up. Hey, man, I'm kind of curious because I ended up getting another relationship with, my ex now.
Mm-hmm.
So I have free time all of a sudden, right? And my passion and my love for my sport has always been there. So I needed to find a way to reconnect. So I reached out to Tony, and he lived in Cali. I knew that. He had moved out that way, so I knew he was close. And he got me in contact with the Las Vegas team through Alex Lutherson, or I always screw his last name up, and he knows that.
But, I think I know who you're talking about.
The big Viking-looking guy.
Yeah.
And so I talked to him, invited me out to practice. And man, I've been hitting it ever since with those guys, and kind of got me back on track. And I hit it full steam ahead out there with those guys, man.
Nice.
Man,
so, I got a question.
Brandon Allen and John Islander and Oleg.
There's some studs out there, So you reside in Texas now, right?
Yes, sir.
So here's a question, and I know, and I have to ask you this. Because Texas is so huge statewide that, yes, they have their own rankings to the point where we have one here in Oregon too. And it's exactly why me and a couple of guys created one, because I saw what you guys had, the Texas Arm Wrestling League, the other TAL. And I have to ask, where were you ranked in that?
So the way they do it out here, and I learned this after I moved here.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't pulled in their sanctioned tournament yet.
Oh, okay.
So the way they do it here, if I went, let's say I went right next week, pulled one of their biggest divisions, everybody shows up from the top down, and I beat them at the tournament.
Right.
I beat them. I'm still ranked 0. Okay.
Wow.
I'm at the bottom of the, there's 88 people. I'm number 88. The way you move up here is you have to challenge the person, and then they're able to respond. I believe there's a time limit. I'm not 100% sure what it is. But if they accept the match, then you got to go to them. And depending on what rank it starts being for money.
Right.
In the fifth place division up to first place. And of course it goes up in money each time you jump up a rank. Now, If you win, they got to pay you the money and you take their spot. If you lose, you pay them, and then you go home with your tail between your legs.
Okay, so let's just say I live in Corpus Christi, right? And I go to visit you, and you're ranked number 1, and I'm ranked number, I don't know, we'll say 8, okay? So I go to you, correct?
Yeah.
And we agree upon, let's just say we both put up $300. So I'm bringing the $300. I'm traveling to your neck of the woods, and we pull a best of 5. If I win, I get your 300 plus your ranking. Is that how that works?
Yeah, and we would do it officially through the TAL board, so the guys that are part of the directors would be able to sanction everything right to make sure that the rankings are, the rules are being followed and everything, and everybody's on board and knows what's going on, of course. Being respectful and kind of making sure everybody's on board. And once everything's cleared off, then yeah, you come out, challenge me, you beat me, I got to pay you, and you take my rank.
Wow. And if I lose to you, then here's the $300. I get to go home and that's it.
Yeah, you pay me and then you leave and you sit and think about why you did that.
So let's just say if it's a sanctioned tournament, because I know you guys have a qualifiers. I know the Texas State Championships are like later in the year. You guys have a West region, a Central region, all that kind of good stuff. So none of those events actually require any kind of flips in as far as the rankings go, or is that just something totally separate?
Yeah, the rankings are like super match based.
Okay.
Right. So I'm going to the regional qualifier here.
Okay.
This is the West Regional Texas qualifier. It's going to be April 30th, right, between me and him, and it's going to be the headlining event.
Gotcha.
So the day before on Friday, they're going to have a lot of amateur challenge matches for rankings.
Okay.
And then the next day, they'll have the super matches and a couple matches in the open division as far as challenges for ranks. And then the tournament is just, it's a tournament. It's just regular setup, right? But there's money, of course, for, first through third. And then that also puts you in the runnings to the overall winning all the qualifiers for the end game, right?
Yeah. And here's the thing. And you tell me, I want your feedback on this ranking things, because we do it in Oregon, just like you guys. Hey, if 4 beats 1, guess what? 4 takes number 1 spot. The number 1 guy now drops down a spot. So we kind of do it that way. But we also have tournaments that does play a factor. And I'll give you an example, and I really want your feedback on this, because me being on the Oregon committee with these ranking things, we've had 2 big, giant Oregon rankings practices, and they're nothing but super matches with rankings and bragging rights. So last year we had a tournament. It was a tournament my wife and I put on. And we had a guy named Bert Carrillo. At the time, he was ranked number 2 right-handed overall, because we have weight class rankings and we have overall rankings. So overall, he's ranked number 2. Okay. There was a guy, and I think at the time he might have been 4, and he beat Bert Carrillo head-to-head in the tournament. Cool. Pretty simple, right? Now, at the end, we get the results, everything. There, we go a couple of days, the new rankings are up. Well, the guy that won, who was ranked number 4, said, "Hey, Jody, I got a question. I beat Bert Carrillo head-to-head, but yet I'm still not above him. Why is that?" And I told him because Bert, for all intents and purposes, actually won his class. He came back from the B side and won the class, whereas the guy that actually beat Bert ended up taking 4th. So in a sense, though, I guess they do kind of, help out, but then it can be some weird stuff too. What is your response to something like that? It can be real tricky.
Right. We both go, we can go either way on this, right?
Okay.
And everything. So that's what makes it tricky about tournaments, right? Because tournaments come down because now you've got everybody's different styles.
Yes.
Against each other's, which that can make you or break you in a match. Doesn't mean you're stronger or not. It just means your style's more effective or less effective than someone.
Gotcha.
Then also you have to think, all right, well, how many people are in the class? How many people did I pull before I pulled you? And how many people did they pull right before I pulled them?
Mm-hmm.
And so you're coming with a lot more variables, and especially if it's called for ranking with money, right? So back kind of the way we did it when I was doing it always was, yeah, okay, so if we met up in a tournament, doesn't matter, whatever super match, whatever, that was more like a challenge thing, right?
Yes.
So if I beat you in that tournament and you're ranked above me or whatever, and I bump you out, and so I get first, you get second, third, whatever, they're going to move my rank up above yours, or take your rank. We're going to go up and then you'll go down just like they do now. But but tournament based, right? Because we didn't really have super match stuff going on as much as far as rankings go,
right.
the way that's going on now. Now that kind of brings us back to what's going on nowadays. And I do understand that also as far as the super match concept, because my biggest thing about I do like the way you battle it out, tournament style, rankings done that way. It kind of, wherever people fall, they fall, and it's a little bit more accurate as far as purist pullers, arm wrestling.
Yes.
Right? Keeps everybody honest. But then if we're talking about money on the line, and then it's coming to rankings then,
right,
that's different, I think, because now, like out here, right? So if I beat so-and-so that's number 2, and I'm ranked, like right now, I come in 80th or something, and I know I'm at that level, but I beat him at the tournament, and they're like, oh yeah, well, that's great, but you don't get anything off of it. I do get that, because it's like the dude's going to have $200 on the line. His ranking's going to be on the line. Plus, we don't know how much damage he sustained before we got the pool to
right,
find out fresh for, who's number 1. And we do know nowadays more too. There's a little bit more science behind prepping for matches and stuff now too, and the athletic part of it, right?
right.
So if I want a super match with somebody and it matters and it's a big match, right? Well, I don't want to just bang it out all of a sudden randomly in a week or 2 weeks, right? You want to get a little prep time there, especially if there's big money on the line.
Oh yeah, and you know what? I'll throw another scenario. You're going to hate me for this. I don't want to make it sound too confusing, but how about this scenario? What if? Okay, here's Robert. Fowler's ranked number 2. Jody's ranked number 7. So we'll use 2 and 7. All right. Hey, we're at a tournament. You and I are on the marquee. We're the undercard, whatever, because I don't know, Robert Burnett's pulling somebody, whatever. We're the undercard. All right. Now, you beat me. $300 on the line. You beat me 3-0. Cool. Hey, that's pretty simple. That's the eye test. Hey, Robert's that much more better than Jody. However, in that tournament, we're in the same weight class. I come back and I actually beat you in the tournament format. In some way, somehow, I finish first and you may take third. Then it's kind of like, okay, now what? And like you said earlier, variables come into play, because we all know just as well as I do, when it comes to tournaments, sometimes it all starts with who's positioned at what side of the bracket,
Yep. Yeah, because you know how it goes, right?
Mm-hmm.
I've been to tournaments and been bumped out of stuff, and I've watched other people rank above me or whatever and place higher because who they drew versus who I drew.
Oh, yeah.
If I go to a tournament and there's 20 people, right, and it's a double elimination, and there's all these random people that I know I can beat, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then Devin Laird and John Brzezinski shows up in the same class, and I drove those 2 as my first matches.
Yeah.
And then I go out. That's like, really, though, am I that bad?
Right.
Or did I get that draw like that? That does affect it. And I get what you're talking about. But yeah, I would definitely stand with the super match for sure. And then whatever happens in the tournament happens, as far as that is more, to me, a good practice, right? After it.
Right.
It's kind of it's one of those things, right? So it's kind of like a practice win.
Yeah.
This is the way I see it. If I go and let's say for some crazy reason, right, John Brzezinski pulls a tournament or pulls like a crazy super match, right, gets blown up pretty good, still enters the tournament, wants to pull. I go up against him. I beat him. He gets second. I get first in the finals.
Right.
All of a sudden, I'm the best arm wrestler? I don't think so. Like, the way I see that is like, wow, that's pretty cool. Like, on paper, that looks great. But anybody that asks me, I'm going to say, look, he wasn't fresh. I mean, look, he pulled a super match before me. I'm not better than this dude unless we go fresh for fresh. Then we'll find out. But I don't ever want to gauge myself or say I beat somebody unless they're 100% and coming at me with everything. And it's the same way it goes to them. I never feel like that is my victory in that sense.
And
right?
and what you said right there is probably a rough scenario because we all know John Brzenk, the GOAT, whatever, can smack anybody anytime he wants to. And the one time we happen to beat him in a tournament because we got lucky, or hey, maybe I was faster than him on the go. And on paper, you look at, oh dang, Robert took out Brzenk or Jody took out Brzenk, and all of a sudden, does that really make us above him?
Right.
Technically, yes, but in reality, no. And that's where, some of that stuff can be a little cloudy, and I don't know, like I said, you'll have your time when you go to the qualifier, but I know what we do here in Oregon, we try to have what we call the Oregon rankings practice. It's a thing we have every, 3 to 4 months where, okay, hey, you call each other out for their spots. I mean, there's no money involved unless you want to do some kind of side thing on your own.
Yeah, for sure.
But we call each other out and says, hey, because right now I just challenged the number one guy left-handed and I ended up losing. I still kept my spot.
That was a damn good match.
Oh, dude, I'm telling you, that was the second time I pulled Josh Heck, because the first time was last fall. That was the first installment of it. And I still lost 3-0, but I got just annihilated. Where this time I kind of slowed him down. So maybe I'm kind of like gaining ground. But at the end of the day, I still lost 3-0. Now, he still kept the number one spot left-handed. I'm still stuck at number 3. And that's just the way it is. We even thought about, man, should we just do away with the weight class and just say, screw it? It's all about the overalls anyway. I mean, we even thought about that because me being on the committee, you try to do that every so often because we say, why wait to a tournament? Because we don't get a lot of tournaments here in the Northwest. So why wait for a tournament where just say, screw it? We might have one more before the first big tournament in the Northwest kicks off, which would be in June, the tournament my wife and I put on. We may have another one before that. That way we can really, get after it. And the reason why we did that, and I was following, Billy Ortegas, he kind of gave me some insight on how the rankings work. And I'm saying, you know what? Maybe if we install that here in Oregon, then maybe that'll get people to kind of get, train harder, get the juices flowing, get that competitive juices rolling and stuff, and I just thought it was a good idea. So I like what you guys do in Texas.
Yeah, and a lot of other things that comes to mind as far as a lot of these debates go.
Yeah.
Especially on the rankings, right? So we have a lot of arguments going on about the official rankings, right? That we're all looking at and seeing where everybody lands at the top 20.
Right.
Right. And we all pretty much agree, pretty solid, like the top 5, we're pretty sure on. Maybe even coming down, maybe the top 7. I mean, we're pretty close. But after that, it's real hazy, right? It's foggy real quick. And I think what can help as far as finding out where people land, like here, like there's a lot of people, right?
Mm-hmm.
And if we get the people that are in the open and then we get the people in the amateurs, you start doing mega matches, right?
Yeah.
And then the ones that are closest to each other. So you would do top 8 and then you would do the top 9 down to the other, 17, 16, those ranks together. You match those off, and then whoever falls in whatever order from 1st down to 8, and then from 9th down to 17th or whatever, that's where they land in the rankings.
Okay.
A much better understanding of where people stand. I mean, it's not 100%, nothing is.
Right.
But as far as a gauge to know where people are closest you can get to without, super matching every single person, because that's going to take a while. We know this. I mean, we see how it plays out. And then you can start doing your super matches after that is kind of decided after that, right?
Wow. You know what? I like that theory. It just triggered something in me. Let's just say, hey, how about we do this? We'll take the top 8 guys and just kind of shuffle it, say, hey, we're going to have an 8-man round robin with the top 8 guys. Shuffle that stuff, because then, that's the only way you can the true way you can start a rankings where you kind of go, okay, because somebody's going undefeated.
Yep.
For the most part, the way it's structured.
You're going to see people, and you can do triple elimination on it or something, to give a little bit more range to those guys to really, figure out polls, right, and stuff like that, to give a little bit more also to the viewers, right, because we want to see some fights and some battles. But yeah, I mean, that's going to be the closest way to getting that done in a quick manner.
Because if you think about it, the way when you shuffle like that, it's not always the top guy remains the top guy, because now he has to pull the number 7, 8, 4, 3, and 2. And you never know, because hey, what if the number 1 guy is fucking tired because he happens to draw the number 2 and 3 guy for the first couple matches? By the time he gets to the last person, the number 8 guy, he might beat him. And then you kind of go, all right, when it's all said and done, what are the records? Whoever has the best record is the number 1 guy. Who had the worst record is the number 8 spot or whatever. I like that. I like the way.
It's harder to dispute that.
Yeah, exactly. I kind of like that, actually. That's pretty nice. I kind of like that. That's pretty awesome. That might be something I can bring up to the board and go, hey man, let's just make it, because right now you'll have a few people in the top, but and I understand people, sometimes they have to work, or hey, I can't make it, I got something going on. We get all that, but now we've had 2 of them and since September, and some of the guys in the top.
It's going to be one of those things, right? And you can correct me on this, or maybe I'm too harsh, but I don't think I am. You say, hey, we're doing it, and and I don't know your population, so maybe 6 is better for you, or whatever the case may be.
Right.
But you get your top, whatever there is, and then you say, hey, on this date now. And then you put it out there, kind of, test the water, see what kind of everybody can get close to on the date.
Right.
But you just don't step on everybody. And then once the date's decided on, say, all right, now everybody's going to be there that's part of this. If you do not make this, you will forfeit your spot and you will drop out of this top. Let's say if it was for the top 8, well, you're automatically going to go to 9th, period.
I do like, there's more. In Oregon, anyway, there's more competitive stuff in the top 10 through 20 than there is the first through 10. That's just the way, because everyone's eager to place, and it is.
They're afraid. They're like picking around. They're like, oh, I don't know if I want to lose to this, or you know what I mean. Like, I don't know. Maybe you get a little bit more comfortable, right?
Right.
And then you're afraid to lose what. You feel like you've earned it and you want to stay there.
But as soon as
I get it.
Hey, Robert, check this out. Because we all know pullers that as soon as you do some rankings and all of a sudden they happen to check and you don't hear nothing from nobody. But I tell you what, the minute they know that they're not in the top 8 no more, they're not in the top 10, then all of a sudden it's like, oh, hey, thanks for resurfacing. How you doing? Nice to meet you again. Then they got something to say.
Yeah, they want to be active again, and here's the thing. This is what I call this to me now.
Mm-hmm.
And every time I think about this, is arm wrestler purist, right?
Right.
So somebody who is in it for the sport, and they're not in it to worry about how many views I get, who's watching me, where's this going to get me? Like, okay, the rankings matter. As far as trying to drive and motivate people to pull more and to grow our country, right? It goes by region, you go state to state, and then nationally for national rankings, and then you go up, and then now you're up to the whole hemisphere of the North American rankings, because we want our country to grow ultimately to take on another country. So we don't want our weakest people staying at the top or to remain unchallenged without growth. Right?
Yeah,
so
exactly.
You can't be afraid to push people out of their comfort zones.
But those guys need to be active, and
this is part of that, where it's like, okay, if you haven't been doing, super match or challenge match or somebody, in your rankings, I don't care if you're number 1, number 2, whatever, within X amount of time, let's say it's 6 months is your max amount of time to go. We're gonna throw a round robin, and you're gonna pull in it. You understand, or you're gonna lose your ranking.
Hey, you know what? If you want that ranking, you show up. Especially, and like I said, we could do it a few months down the road. But and the thing with that is that okay? If this means that much to you, then you do it. So I'll give you another example, right? And here's the thing, in the North America top 10 in the supers. There was one guy that we all know that is not there, and he probably should be there. But because he hasn't been active, then that's just the way it is, right? We all know in the top 10, Jerry Caderet falls somewhere in there. Hell, maybe even top 5. But because he hasn't been active in a couple of years, that's the reason why he's not there. Therefore, what brings up an issue is that all the guys that are in the top 10, they've been doing what they need to be doing. They've been participating at tournaments and finishing top 3. They've been having these challenge matches and super matches, and they've been winning, making waves. So, yes, I understand those guys don't, penalize those guys. But we all know it's that John Brzezinski theory you and I just had where, hey, we beat him, but we know deep down we're not better than him. So the guys in there, I mean, you sit there, you go, okay, Derek Smith is what, number 5 in North America? Can he beat Jerry Caderet? I don't know. I think Jerry might get him. I don't know, but we won't know that because Jerry hasn't pulled. It's just one of those deals. You know what I mean? So it's kind of
it's a lot of cherry picking, right?
Yeah, exactly.
That's what I feel like. It's not fair for. And again, I am not dropping names.
Right.
But we know things that are going on that we see, and I see a lot of people in those top areas, or they're a hell of a lot more active. And they don't feel like they're getting the accolades that they should be versus some other people who are hanging back and cherry picking their matches and blah, 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 and whatever because of views or, behind the scenes deals.
Right.
Dude, you know what? Like, bro, it's like, get out the kitchen, right? If you're not going to cook.
Right.
Like, well, what are you doing? Like, you can't. And this guy that's pulling all the time, right? And there's guys out there that are doing it. They're putting their body on the line more and going through more damage than these other guys that are, let's say, ranked higher or getting higher priority matches from the guys that are really earning it.
Do you think money plays a big factor? And I say that because, like you said, the lower level guys are more active, which is good because we all got in this sport to compete anyway, right? But as you get higher and higher on the totem pole, you know what I mean? Then, okay, now we're talking, okay, well, if I'm the number 3 guy in North America, at some way, somehow, hey, how about you pull me? It's like, well, it has to be at a certain venue, at a certain event, and there's got to be money involved. And so maybe once you get to that upper echelon of the top 10 or top 5 or what have you, money becomes an issue, the prime going factor. So then you got to go, okay, let's just say you're top 10. Hey, I'd love to pull this guy at your event, but what's in it? Can you put up the money? Or hey, I'll bring money, but something has to be compensated, I guess, when it comes to be. And then once you get to the top 3, now it's like, okay, well, I'm gonna need my hotel paid for. I'm gonna need my air flight. I'm gonna need for somebody to sponsor or whoever the case may be, drop in not just $500. Now we're talking $2,500 or whatever the case may be. Now there's that. And maybe that's why when it comes to that, because we all know money don't grow on trees, and damn it to hell, if everybody doesn't work nowadays, then you get to that situation. That's why maybe you start to get to a freeze when you get to that upper echelon. It's not as active because now those guys who probably at elite status, they've earned their way to say, hey, I need to be compensated. If I'm going to spend my time, I need to be compensated. Maybe that's why it slows down. And that's just me thinking outside the box.
Here it is, right? Those top 5 that we all agree on, right? We can pretty much agree. I mean, we got one that, we just talked about that he may be there, but the top 5, we can pretty much agree on that. That in that area, I believe what you're talking about there is a good example, and I do understand that because here's the thing, right? This training is not free. The time you spend away from your job or your family is not free. All the commitment and everything that goes into this time training, right? It's not easy. It's not free. There's a lot of blood, sweat, and tears and sacrifices that goes into getting that top notch rung. And I do believe there should be compensation for that. But we don't really have a great, venue for that, right? An outlet,
right?
To really like, okay, well, you're the top blah, blah, blah in the nation arm wrestling wise. Now these are available to you. right? Now you pull for these cash money matches because now this is where you pull at this arena or whatever it may be to get paid. And that does kind of suck. That can lead into that freeze out. But when you're coming up and you're right there and you're next to each other, like one spot difference, right? It's really hard to deny that match.
Right.
You know what I mean? When you're not at the very top 5. You're in the top 15, top 10, whatever. Man, let's just make it happen, especially if somebody's offering you a venue and $500, blah, blah, whatever, right? Because I watch people that are ranked higher than a lot of these people, right? We just seen Cody Merritt and Tony Thomason not too long ago.
Right.
What did Cody have to gain out of that?
Well, I mean, you're right. But at the same time, if I'm Tony.
But he didn't deny it.
Right.
He was like, hey, you know what? I love to arm wrestle.
Yeah.
Let's try it. If you beat me, you beat me. Huh. I mean, that's a lot on the line if he wasn't feeling it right. Or if he had a different style and it worked and he got caught there.
Right. No,
he didn't train or prep for Tony.
Totally agree with that. So shifting gears, what are the summer plans for Mr. Fowler have in store? Like, once this super match is come and gone, what are your plans for the summer? Are we going to nationals maybe?
Because I'm like I said, I'm steamrolling now. So this all kicked me off in Las Vegas. I don't know if you haven't probably been able to keep up as much as far as how I've been coming up as far as my strength, leveling, training, all that, right?
I have not, but enlighten us. Let us know what's going on.
All right. So coming back in, right? Utah, I started out first time going down. Corona's in effect. So we didn't know if it's going to be a lot of people or not. I show up. I got to pull right out the gate. Jordan Seal. I'm like, yeah, this is going to go over great. 2 months of training back into it.
Right.
Haven't been really working out for this. I get smashed. Left-handed still. Placed top 3. It was tough. Just feeling like crap. Working my way back up. Well, then, 6 months into it, I went to Rumble at the Rainbow too. Justin Green's.
Yeah.
And I dang near had Cody pinned. Dang it, right-handed. Fresh on fresh, right?
Yeah.
Butt slip, go the strap. I just didn't. I just hadn't trained enough, and again, I'm only 6 months back into it. Everybody else never took off.
Was this last year?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And then left-handed, and again, you got to remember, Jordan Seal, right? No joke, was whacking me, dude. Like the last 2 times I pulled him, just grabbed me, eased me to the pad, left or right-handed, didn't matter. So we pull left-handed there. He can't pin my freaking left arm, dude.
Nice.
Posting up. It just ain't happening. I'm looking at my left arm like, what are you? Great job. I don't know what this left arm does, but sometimes it shows up.
Right.
And, just to not get pinned out, which, happens or whatever. But I was happy with that. I was like, you know what? You didn't pin me, So it was pretty funny. And then I ended up taking third right-handed. I actually beat my buddy John, who had beat me 2 times before, John Islander.
Yeah.
You know who he is.
Yeah.
And then so I ended up taking him down there and pretty convincingly got him right-handed. Then he got me left-handed, which, hey, props to that. And then a few months later, that's when I went down. I was prepping to go to Hawthorne. Went to Hawthorne. 4 days before that, I got sick with some kind of stomach thing.
Right.
Didn't know if I was going to go. I planned for a few months to go and decided, yeah, I'll go anyways. I lost like 7 or 8 pounds. So I showed up, first match out the gate. Mega Mike, don't know who he is.
Oh, yeah. I was there. I remember. I remember.
Forces me into a hook. I'm like, what the hell? That didn't work out too well.
Right.
And then so had a few matches. Didn't do too well on my right. That's the one John beat me at. right there.
Yeah.
Also. And then I think actually this was before that. Yeah, Hawthorne was before this. And then we did the Rumble at the Rainbow. So I ended up losing to John there, right-handed. And again, you know, you keep that in the back of your mind. It's another driving factor. Left-handed, I got to stop on Abo, right? I don't even know who this guy is.
Out of California.
And so, so I start going down, get about, quarter of the way down. Boom, stop him, post him up, start coming back my way, and he slips on me. And I said, man, if he wouldn't have slipped out, I feel like I would have got that. Man, I don't know who this guy is, you know?
There's nothing more frustrating when you know you have your opponent and you're going to the pin pad and you're thinking, I got this guy. And then the last minute slip, you're like going, are you kidding me? Right?
Oh, man, Cody Merritt, dude, I'm telling you, it was so close. But yeah, that was good. And then we strapped up. I just didn't have enough. My arm was already kind of blowing out there. So then I come back. We got the King of Cali coming up, right?
Yep.
So I'm supporting my homie, Brandon Allen, training up and everything, getting ready for it. So I'm like, dude, I'm going to come down. I started lifting even harder, training more, focusing. Get down there. I told Tony, hey, I'm going to come down, mess around, see where I'm at with you. Is that cool? Fresh on his right, because I knew he has that on the left with
Tom Nelson.
Tom Nelson, yeah. So he's like, oh, yeah, that's great, man. That's cool. Sounds good. So I go down. After they're done, we pull fresh on fresh, center of the table, going back and forth, pretty damn close, right? And then that's all I needed to know. And then we strapped up. I just didn't feel good in the strap. Didn't matter to me. I just needed some good pulls with him and see kind of where we were. So strength-wise, we were pretty close then.
Right.
And left-handed, I felt pretty good too. Had him down at the bottom of the pad. He had to push a little harder to get me down. So I was like, okay, improvements. And then Vegas was coming up. Allen's tournament with Eric Spotto.
That's right.
And then, man, I was prepping hard for that dude, man. I was training, went to full mode arm wrestling training, and a lot more time in the gym, just focused, a lot more table time. Showed up to that, dude, and ended up, I took one loss because I laid down, right? We played a game sometimes. So Jonathan Vasquez. So we ended up in the finals together. My first, though, after that, was Scott Parlington.
Yeah, that's a crazy guy, man. I mean, he's real aggressive.
I was like, I know this guy from Cali, and I know he's kind of a beast.
Yeah.
But I was feeling good. So every time we went to go, I took his hand, and I was gonna be able to pin him. And so he was feeling it. He was feeling it out, adjusting. So he slipped, got to the strap. We went to the strap. Man, he Kings moved the shit out of me. He's hanging off the bottom of the table down there.
The wily veteran.
What's up?
The wily veteran that he is.
Yes. Oh, very, very smart. So I dropped two. Kings move underneath, back to him to at least stop him and get him coming back up to center.
Right.
Then they're telling us both stand up. I stand up enough. I start squeezing him in, pull him across so I can start getting my hand over to get behind my shoulder because I'm going to press through him.
Right.
By the time I start getting him kind of over, boom, fouls out. I'm like, oh, my God, dude, that sucked, dude. That was a lot of pressure on my arm. I did not want that to happen. So I was hoping I had enough gas in the tank and ended up taking the rest of the tournament undefeated right-handed. And that was awesome. Hometown,
nice.
A lot of freaking pressure.
Well, let's talk about hometown because IFA Nationals will be in Irving, Texas this June. Do you plan on making a trip down there?
I do.
There you go. Because I'm telling you right now, now that this IFA is starting to catch on, and I was at IFA Worlds last September, and I'm telling you right now we got a bona fide IFA Nationals, I expect a lot of people there. They had one last year too, but I think this one will be a lot more people there this time around. So that's going to be real awesome.
Well, and also, what's the difference with this one?
For this one?
The money incentive, right? The money. There's incentive for Worlds, right?
I think so.
$1,000 to go if you win for the championship of each weight division to help to go to Worlds. If you choose to go to Worlds, first time they've ever offered that.
Hey, if that ain't more motivation than you need, I don't know what is.
Oh man, exactly. I'm like, dude, you better show up. You know,
that's big time
and
stuff.
I don't want to give too much away of me and kind of because I've got a lot coming in on this match. I'm not taking this guy lightly whatsoever. I'm training like I'm going against John Brzing, right? I don't care. Like he's getting everything. So, but I will say that I will be the biggest, strongest, most focused version of myself that anyone's seen.
Now, is that match in April?
That's going to be April 30th. Yeah.
Gotcha. And tell everybody watching on the live chat, April 30th, we're at.
That's going to be in Lubbock, Texas.
Aha, there we go. So all you Texas Tech Raider fans down there, be ready because Fowler's going to sit there and he's going to probably take this as one of the most important matches going in. And once all that's said and done, you might lay low, train a little bit, keep quiet, and just roll in the IFA Nationals, in June to say, hey, I'm here to, kick ass and take names. Now, what happens after that?
Next after that in 3 weeks. That's the Northern Qualifier.
Ooh, okay.
Or Central Qualifier, I believe. Right? So, that's with all those big super matches coming up.
Right.
On the card. And I know that's going to draw a lot of attention. So I know my rankings here doesn't matter, right? As far as unless you do a super match.
Right.
But after my prep on this, I'm going to be a different animal. So everybody better be watching out whenever I do show up on this. I'm ready. That's all I can say.
So the Texas State Championship, is that like in October?
The what?
The Texas State Championships, because I know.
Yeah, it's towards the end of the year. I have to look up the date exactly again.
Okay, and I know, and because I got some friends in the Texas area. I got a lot of friends in Texas. I know Billy Ortegas and Sarah McKinney, and I'm talking to them, going, how exactly does that work? And they're telling me, well, if you place, I think if you place first, if I'm not mistaken, in one of the qualifiers, then as far as the state title goes, Texas State Championships, your entry fee is already paid for because you took first in the qualifier. I think that's how I explained it to me.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure you're correct on that.
Yeah, so
because each one of these qualifiers cash money too for the prize.
Okay.
Yeah, so I do plan on entering that tournament after my super matches, as long as I'm feeling healthy, right?
Right. Yeah, because who do you guys have?
I believe there's 5.
Okay, because you got
like a northern, southern, and central, and eastern, and a western.
Gotcha. And how far apart are they?
A couple months from each other as far as time wise. Mm-hmm. Located in different areas of the state, right? Because it's by region. It's split up in 5 regions. So each one's in their respected region is going to have a qualifier event. And I know from me being kind of in the center,
yeah,
none of them are more than like 4 hours from me, right?
Okay.
So yeah, I mean, I'm in a smaller area, smaller club, whatever. I do plan on helping grow that here. Gotcha. The strength level is definitely coming up here. So the guys better be watching out for my guys around here because they're not right. It's going to be different. Yeah, I mean, it's not too harsh for me to make these and kind of shake things up around here. You know what I mean? And I got blood in the water.
And I got a question, and maybe you can help me out with this question. Let's just say, hey, I'm going to the central region qualifier, but I take 4th. Okay, cool. Is it only the top 3 that qualify, or is it just the whoever finishes first?
I think it's top 3.
Okay.
From what I was reading on the thing.
And I want to say, because let's just say I go to the central qualifier region and I take 4th. Okay, you got the northern one coming up, next, for example. Okay, now's my time to go there. But the top 3 in the central also are going to the one in the northern region. And if they take it the same thing and I'm like still taking 4th, I mean, how does that work out? Does that discourage people?
Yeah, and that's a good question, because I haven't been around here long enough to know what they would do on something like that.
Right.
I mean, that's tricky, really is, because that's a good point.
And
because,
I'm only,
like I said, I do plan on hitting both of the next ones coming up.
Right. And I only say that because let's just say, I qualify at one of the regions, the southern region or whatever. If I qualify, there's no need for me to go to another qualifier unless I want to go for another hand or something like that. Because then I might be taking a spot from somebody who actually trying to qualify, and then that's kind of not fair. You know what I mean?
The cash payout is what I think, and we know this. I tell everyone who wants to like promote, right, or throw a tournament or whatever, and they're like, "Man, how do I get more people like the names to show up, right? People that matter."
Yeah.
And I would say, put money on it, $300, $250 for first. It doesn't have to be a lot,
right?
But you put money on there. The people that want to pull that means something will show up. Trust me. If you're going to pay an arm wrestler, we're going to be there. Like, the ones that are higher level will show up for those.
Oh, you'll get their attention real quick.
Yeah, because again, right, where I'm at, trophy's not so much to me. I don't really care so much about that anymore. Right. It's either names or if you're going to pay me to show up.
Right. And everyone's on a different level. There was a thing, and I want to say it's the Texas Arm Wrestling League had their own YouTube channel. And I saw one time there was an event where it was like Texas versus Louisiana. And I don't know if they still do that, but I thought that was interesting when I saw that, because you got guys matching up, going against one another. That was pretty cool. So.
Oh, yeah, I did. I remember now kind of something. Now you bring that up.
Yeah, that was pretty nice.
We had New Mexico versus Southwest Colorado.
Okay.
Whenever we had a team event, right?
Oh, so tell me how that went down. That's for bragging rights, correct?
We had money.
Ooh.
And bragging rights.
Okay.
10 points, right? So yeah, I just pretty much remember my match. This was too long ago. I was like, I want to say 2010 is when it was, 2011, something like that.
Yeah.
And I had a bad injury. I was working through for about a year on my right arm. So any pressure on the inside of my hand to supinate me in or push side pressure into my hand,
right?
I couldn't handle it. I would just pin myself even. Like I couldn't take any pressure there.
Ouch.
So for a whole year, now I got second place state right-handed. I beat Mark Lowry, right?
Ooh, oh yeah. I know Mark.
Right-handed down there, flash pinned him at state with this injury now. The only person that beat me going against knew that, so they wouldn't pull me there. And it happened.
Right.
It happened. And I don't blame them at all, because I'm like, dude, I'd probably do the same thing, because that's what we train to do. We train to win. And if you feel a pressure, you just do it sometimes.
Right.
And so I ended up losing on that one because of the pressure inside of my hand. So during this team face-off, my opponent, Stephen King, out of Texas, actually now, El Paso is where he's from.
Right.
Was pulling for New Mexico. And we had a super match. I beat him undefeated to left. And then right-handed, I beat him the first round because it was 2 out of 3 on both.
Yes.
And then my next match, he kind of found my Achilles heel.
Ooh.
And after that, man, I was done. As soon as he was able to get pressure going sideways, even off the start, I couldn't hold it. And I tried to run away with my hand, like going outside and really pronate fast and rise, but just bumping sideways in there and hit me. So ended up a draw. So thankfully I didn't have to pay nothing. He didn't have to pay nothing, but it was fun.
All right, hey, at least you broke even, because that would have sucked if you had to pay all the money too. That would have hurt even worse.
Yeah. But I knew what I was doing. I was like, dude, I don't care. Like I live to arm wrestle, so I'm not letting any injury stop me unless I physically cannot pull. Like my left arm was down for a year and a half with my shoulder injury that I had a long time ago. And I couldn't even pick up a weight in the gym. So I didn't pull for a year and a half. And then one day I went into practice. I just pulled right-handed for a while. That's when I ended up winning the John Brzezinski Cup. Was that 2016? Undefeated. Beat Eric Myler. Like several of the other guys down there that were pulling down there. And Bob Brown was like, oh, yeah, Eric Myler's going to win this whole thing. Told my buddy that and all that. And all three of us teammates that came down there were betted against, and we all swept the whole tournament.
Oh, wow.
I smashed it all the way through. I didn't really train much or anything for it, but I felt good. And it was great. It was the first, I think it was the first or second one that they had. It was right-handed only.
Oh, okay.
And it worked out perfect because my left was injured.
And they got some studs in Utah. I think in anybody watching in the Brzezinski Cup, Midvale, Utah, taking place this year in November, I want to say 12th. But yeah, I mean, Robert Baxter, Cody Merritt, Jordan Simmons, they're all the boys. They're down there.
Oh yeah, Justin Green.
Yes.
If you can make it down there, man, that's a great one to hit. I always try to make that one. I placed that one. I won, and then the next one I came back. That one I was telling you about. My first one came back second. Second right-handed, third left-handed. Then this previous one that I pulled with John Brzezinski, Cody Merritt, right? We didn't even talk about that one. That was actually pretty special, pretty awesome. But ended up getting second left-handed and third right-handed because after that big match with Scott down there in Vegas, I actually took a little damage on my tendon there on the top for pronation.
Ooh.
And when I showed up to that match, I did not know how much because it was a week later. And I didn't know. I felt pretty good. I knew there was maybe a little strain there, but not bad enough to maybe affect me, I thought.
Right.
And after my first match, I was like, oh, no, this thing is not healed. And so I was pulling there probably, 70% on my right arm the whole time. And I felt decent, though, I mean, I don't take anything away from nothing, but I really would have liked to have pulled Cody again fresh on my right instead of damaged. And even pulling with John Brzezinski like that and stopping him in the middle of the table with my hand and forcing him to have to go to straps with me was a win in my book.
Anytime you can make the great one slip, then it's like, okay, he didn't just mow right through you. That's a win in anybody's book. I'm sorry. That's just what it is.
Yeah, I was watching everybody this year that's pulled him since he came back out of retirement. And I don't think I remember seeing anybody make him actually have to run and slip.
Right.
Open-handed like that, unless he kind of made them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And there may be something I don't know, but as far as I can recollect after seeing all those matches, not really. It was usually mutual.
Right.
Or he forced them. But for me to do that to him, I felt good. But my hand is really, really strong. It's retarded.
There you go.
In a way.
I'm a big proponent of that, having a strong hand.
Yeah, for sure. And then my left-handed match with Cody, because like I said, I just seen him pull Tony Thomason, who's ranked, of course, higher than me. I've been inactive or whatever coming back, but I'm a lot stronger than I was the last time we had pulled.
Right.
I pulled with Cody, and I was thinking, man, I'm going to give him everything I got, but I'm probably just going to get waxed. And we set up on our first match, and boom, I stopped him right there on the outside and took his hand and forced him into a slip.
There you go.
And, number one ranked in North America, for him to go try to just straight pin me, and I took his hand.
Mm-hmm.
That's a lot.
And that says a lot.
Straps, it was terrible.
But still, I mean, you were able to do that to the number one guy in North America. So, don't sell yourself short because, I think some people do that. They just kind of go, well, he's ranked number one, he's the greatest of our time, or what have you. But I think some people tend to, sell themselves short. Like, don't ever second guess your abilities because, like you even said, to make Brazil like struggle for a second to slip out of that says that okay, you got something there, and now you gotta do is you go back, and if you happen to lose the match, so be it. But then you go back and go, okay, I made this guy sweat for a half a second, which means I'm doing something right. I just gotta find out what it is and make sure I capitalize on that.
Exactly. Yeah, and like I said, that did surprise me. Because then when it was a strap, he's just too much in there. So got me pretty easy there. And then the next match, he did exactly what he wanted to. He came straight across on me. I wasn't able to get to his hand fast enough. So I was like, well, I guess that was my one shot, right? I felt like maybe I had exhausted that option.
Right.
And it was triple elimination. So the third time we set up, again, I don't care if it's my first match, if it's my 1,000th match. I'm coming at you with everything I got, and I don't care. And I'm not, I'm not going to hold back. So we set up again. I load up and everything. I'm coming back. I'm trying to get enough pressure through his fingers to stop his ability to contain me. And as soon as we hit and he tries to go across, bang! Like I cracked his hand back up, stopped him, pulled through, and his hand, I was actually able to get his hand backwards for a second.
Right.
And then he got above my hand and I was slipping underneath him. And he had a hold of my hand. He was trying to pin me through there because I even stood back up and let him hit me because I figured maybe he would hold on. And then I tried to go back there, and then we just slipped. And that was my second foul because I had an elbow foul, I guess, before that. I didn't even realize it. But,
well, I'll tell you what.
I just felt great. I was like, hey, screw that, man. That's a win. All I wanted to do was stop him.
You take all that and you put it in that super match on April 30th. And I'm telling you, and then a few weeks later, we got the qualifier. You're going to be banging some heads. And I can't wait to. Is anybody doing that event live by chance?
The TAL does stream.
Okay.
I will say that. And they actually do a really good job because I went to the ladies event, right?
Yeah.
Probably seen some of my posts or whatever on Facebook.
Mm-hmm.
So while I was down there, I kind of seen their camera setup or whatever.
Yeah.
And it's nice, dude. They got like a few cameras set up on there and it's streaming live, and their quality. I don't know if are you part of the TAL thing or no?
I want to say yes. I know I get notifications when they do go live. I just know that we tend to practice in the morning at 10 a.m., which is, when y'all about to start going live with stuff. So I have to catch it later on.
Yeah. Well, I can tell you it's probably one of the best live feeds I've seen on as far as quality wise on YouTube. I was noticing that before I even moved here.
Right.
I was like, dang, what are they doing different? Because this is like coming in nice, And went down there and I was just like, man, they got a nice camera set up on it, feeding it.
Nice.
So
good quality.
It's good, They're doing it right down here, that's for sure.
I can't wait. Well, Mr. Fowler, we've been on. That was the world's quickest 1 hour and 3 minute episode. I just had to look and go, damn, we're an hour in already. Wow,
Hey, bud, you know what? When you're having fun, it ain't nothing, right?
I think what it is just when you just start talking the sport, and you got two guys who love it, and they just start talking, and next thing you know, you kind of go, oh wow, man, we've been talking for an hour. It doesn't feel like that. I think when we start talking about rankings, that kind of got us fired up, and then you talked about.
Oh, it gets the juices flowing.
Yeah,
you're like, hey.
You talked about how you went to this tournament, you were training with, Brandon Allen, and you went to against Mega Mike and training with Spotto and all those kind of guys. I think when you start doing that kind of stuff, it says boom, 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 boom. It's like, oh wow, So I do want to say,
cover it, man, as fast as I can, and like I said, as far as my pedigree goes, the people that know me, right, that knew when I came back, knew that I am definitely a force. But I've never been in the shape or the condition that I'm in and been able to have the amount of time that I need free
right,
to focus on growing the way that I have been. and it's been at a substantial rate, and it is going to maintain a substantial rate here for the foreseen future, because I've got some guys up there that that were pulling and training the whole time that I wasn't, that I need to set right.
Right. Well, nice. Well, Preacher Arm Wrestling says, hey, good luck at Nationals this year in June. So he wanted to say that to you.
I appreciate it, man. I'm going to do my best for myself and everybody that wants to follow me along for the ride.
Right.
And everybody give us due a sub, man.
Right.
Like, that's how we grow.
That's what I'm talking about. We're about to wrap this thing up.
YouTube, man. I'm just I'm kind of technology slow.
No, that's okay. I mean, hell, I've been doing this show for I don't know how long. Hey, I'm not the guy that gets. I don't get those. What you call those things? Those super chats. I do this out of love, and we doing this. So.
Hey, but I'm gonna tell you what, dude. Like, and because I've watched his stuff, and I'm like, man, why is his sub thing like not banging off? Because, dude, I like watching your interviews and stuff. Like we just did this. You get real kind of personal, right? And you ask good questions, and it keeps the keeps you connected with you and the person you're interviewing with, and I like the way that comes off. Your energy is good.
I must be doing something wrong.
Let's just I push everybody. I've been doing it since it's coming on. Like, get this. Let's subscribe, man, to this guy. Like here soon, sometime soon, I'm gonna have my own thing going, and we need to support each other and help each other out. And there's enough people that know each other to at least get us 1,000 right out the gate.
Right, and like I said, man, we need that kind of stuff. And we're about, before we wrap this thing up, I want to thank you for joining me. And you know what? Thanks for actually putting that out there, because I don't think a lot of people understand. You kind of just was like in passing, just said, oh, I'd love to be on the show. I've never been on a talk show before. I'm thinking, well, let's get you on here then. Let's go ahead and do this and see, is it nice to get household names? Of course it is. But, how many times can you hear the household name talk over and over again, right?
Exactly.
So you got, like, for me, this is my show. On Monday mornings, me and my partner, Ryan Espy out of Canada, the Canada Connection, we have our Monday morning show every Monday morning. So it's kind of like, it's pretty cool to do that kind of stuff. And I see Wayne Withers just got on there. What's up, Wayne? We're about to wrap this thing up, but I'm going to have to get at him because I know he has a big match coming up, and I'm going to have to make him a guest and say, hey, so I can pick his brain or something like that.
Hey, he's one of the ones, man. We're going to have to meet up here, sometime soon.
You hear that, Wayne? You heard it right now from Mr. Fowler. So, Robert, I just want to say, hey, thanks for joining me tonight. I know it's about.
I appreciate you having me on, man. I really do.
I think it might be dinner time where you at, right?
Oh, it's going to be dinner time all the time, man. I'm hungry.
Well, I'll tell you what, man. I'm gonna let you go ahead and get you a bite to eat. I'm gonna do the same. But again, thank you for coming on the show and spending a little bit over an hour with me and everybody out there. Sounds good?
All right, brother. Well, I'll catch you on the next go round, and hopefully I'll see you soon.
Yes, sir, man. Take care. We'll talk to you down the road.
All right.
Take care. Bye.
Mm-hmm. Bye.
That was Robert Lee Fowler. He has a big super match coming up on April 30th, okay? Texas Arm Wrestling League will stream live for that event. And I'm telling you, man, look him up. Look up the Hawthorne event last year, okay? So that would be the Kenny Bostic. All right, that would be the Nevada State Championships. I know my buddy filmed the event. Actually, there's two people that filmed it. My buddy, Nano Cruz, Puller Magazine, he filmed it. And I know ArmTalk was there. Nick Postal, he also filmed the event. So check out Robert, because he did pull the likes of Abo and, Mega Mike and those guys and stuff. So it's a happening. So I'm glad he was able to come on the show. I'm glad you guys were able to come on and watch us, for an hour and 10 minutes or so. Carl Stanley's in the house. What's up, my man? I'm glad everything's going with you. These two guys right here, they got matches coming up. I need to get them on here. Carl Stanley has a big match coming up. Wayne Withers has a big match coming up. I just got to make sure these guys can clear the schedule. Maybe we can work something up, get these guys on there so they can be the next guest on my episode of ArmTalk. But It is Thursday. It is time for me to get something to eat. So I will say this. Thank you for joining me. And as always, I will see you when I see you. You guys take care. Be good to one another.